Well, look, I've picked the Cleveland Cavaliers to win the East, and I'm sticking with that pick. But if I was dropped down from Mars right now and I looked at the teams in the East right now, I wouldn't even think twice after watching them and looking at their resume as to who's the best team. I mean, the Sixers have everything. They got the best big man in the conference by far.
Yes.
Okay? They've got a great point guard. I could argue he's the best point guard in the conference, and that includes Kyrie Irving, who, is more of a scorer. They've got great three-point shooting. They're fifth in the league in three-point shooting since the All-Star break. They play great defense. They were third in the league defensively. People overlook that. They don't understand it.
That might be in front of is Joel Embiid, because people might question, East, but best center and some of the other things. That might be their number one calling card. And people don't understand that. They look at them, their starting five, and say they're not that athletic, but they're long. And they're smart defensively. Since March 1st, which is when they had this team intact with Ersan Ilyasova, and they got Marco Bellinelli a few weeks earlier, they have gone 23-4. That's the best record in the league. Not the East, the league. They're the only team to win 20 games in that stretch. And so the only knock against them, I don't know if it's a knock, but is inexperience. That's it. That's real.
Which hasn't even really affected them.
No, it would be unprecedented for a guy in his rookie year, Ben Simmons, and Embiid is in his second year of playing.
Technically, it's
really,
his fourth.
Yeah, but really didn't play much last year, only 31 games. Shaq Penny went to the finals when Penny was in his second year. Shaq was in his third year, but they had played more college ball than Embiid and Simmons and more pro ball.
Yeah.
So they're a great team. They're certainly the team of the future in the East.
One thing they did show me, and I talked to Nick and Jenna about this last week, was people talk about inexperience. I was wondering how after they lose game 2, Joel Embiid starts to complain about not playing. They go to Miami. They get the big win on Thursday. Now, you've been in Miami. Yeah. You've heard about Miami. They play a Saturday matinee. Now, that Thursday night and that Friday, I don't care how much experience you have, but you have to be a mature basketball team. And the way they came out and handled the Saturday, and it also, we didn't hear the stories about them in the nightlife. Yeah. To me, that showed a significant amount of maturity for a group. And you heard Dwayne Wade in the interview now. There's certain people that are just special. That experience is only a small thing when you put into the equation as far as pluses and minuses. So I did see that this weekend, and I was impressed with that.
That's a great point.
Well, and to your point, Broussard, I mean, the question is, are they the best team in the East? They are, I think, obviously right now, the best team in the East. Now, I also believe Cleveland's going to ultimately make the NBA Finals. I think Cleveland can present some problems for them offensively, and I think we saw that in their near 30-point comeback. But right now, I mean, how about just the last 20 games? They've won 19 of 20. You went back to March 1st. Since Christmas Day, they're 38-12. Plus the playoffs, so that would be 41-13. That's the second best record in the NBA. Only Houston was better. Since Christmas Day, number 2 defense in the NBA, the number 1 point differential in the NBA. Like, that is an enormous sample size. And so when you just look at them with how they're playing, their one bugaboo in the regular season was effectiveness in the fourth quarter. That this was a team that blew a lot of fourth quarter leads. That offense got stagnant in the fourth quarter. In the playoffs, they've had an offensive efficiency better than 115 in each of their 4 fourth quarters. That's top of the league level. Like, they fixed their one weakness, or at least they have so far in these playoffs.
Right. And one thing I was worried about with their youth was the NBA whistle. Would they be able to get the whistle? That's one thing that's helped them out in the fourth quarter, because Joel Embiid, they're not treating them just like younger players or rookie. He is getting a veteran whistle. Like, he's getting more respect than anyone in this series. If you look at the number of fouls being called on him, so that right there, it helps that inability to be able to finish in the fourth, because they're a great free throw shooting team.
You know what else? They're well coached. Brett Brown, I'm so glad they stuck with Brett Brown, because, he had to coach through that whole process.
Yes. And general manager didn't make it, but the coach did.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing, too. Like, usually when you bring in a new front office, they may want to bring in their own guy, or the stench. Even though you knew it wasn't Brett Brown's fault, all those years, The stench of that can sometimes cost the coach's job. But if you look at the sets they run, you look at his rotations, his substitution patterns, he is a very good coach.
So explain something to me. Both of you have nothing but praise for the 76ers. That their only knock right now is that maybe they have some issues in the fourth quarter and they don't really have playoff experience, which isn't even affecting them, and yet both of you continue to think that the Cavs are going to come out of it.
I'm going to be honest. It's just blind faith in LeBron James.
Of course.
That's it. There's no other reason for me to look at Cleveland and think, heck, that they may even get to the conference finals. I mean, they're not playing that well. They just have the best player in the world.
The Sixers are playing that well and as a cohesive unit, and they're not doing anything. You still think LeBron will somehow...
I'm not totally convinced. But yeah, I'll stick with my pick.
What you put there is correct. Like, it is just unadulterated faith in LeBron. But on the Sixers, like, to go from being a team that struggled in the fourth quarter to, in this series, be plus 42 in the 4 fourth quarters they've played, to have won every single one of those fourth quarters. And in Saturday's game, like, it was the end of the third combined with the fourth. Miami had all of a sudden gotten a 10-point lead with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. I was watching the game with Dusty, who works with us. He's a Sixers fan. It was his birthday. And I said to him, most important 2 minutes of your season right now. Because the difference between being down 14 and down 7, that could decide the game. They ended up only being down 4 going into the fourth. And then they also were able to, in the fourth quarter, when D-Wade gets the rim to cut it to a 1-point game, run a beautiful play for J.J. Redick to get what I'm sure they hoped was going to be a 3. His foot was on the line, so it ended up being a 2. They executed late. They won a game that, if this series is 2-2, we're talking about it totally differently. They won a game where Embiid only made 2 shots, where Miami... where Philadelphia, was 7 of 31 from 3. To win that game, like to be up 3-1, that is one of those turning point games in the series, and we saw it.
Yeah, the one loss wouldn't have changed what I'm seeing in Philadelphia. To me, they're the best team in the East.
Are you picking them to get to the finals?
Yeah, I believe they're going to win it. Yes, I believe they're better than Cleveland. Like, I've been saying this for a couple weeks, and I'm going to go. I'm not a Martian. I've been here for a while, all right? I'm not just now seeing Cleveland play and just now seeing Philadelphia play. So I have, in my brain, it's hard for me to etch out the negatives and inconsistency of Cleveland. So Joel Embiid's ability to be able to dominate in the paint. And I believe they would crush Cleveland in as far as the rebound. You know, so I'm not a fan of inconsistent play, and I'm just going to grant them, they're going to go to the finals because LeBron's been 7 times. I can't exit out of my brain just how inconsistent they are. And Kevin Love, man. Kevin Love is the worst number 2, the number 2 guy in the playoffs. If you look at the stars.
He has been so far.
Well, what else I'm going to judge it on?
I don't think they treat him like a 2. I don't think they treat him like a number 2. I mean, he had 8 shots the first game. He had 2 shots in the second half of Game 3. They don't go to him. Their offense is just a mess.
Well, and I know we're going to talk more about Cleveland later. Here's the other thing Philly has going for it. When we just talk, I know the lack of experience is real. I've kept bringing up the 2010 Thunder, and then someone made a point. Maybe the better example is the 95 Magic. Or
but there is no one who has experience besides LeBron.
Well, and the East is completely wide open. That's a good point.
And the point that I was leading to is, if we're ranking just players in the East, LeBron is 1, Giannis is 2. But are 3 and 4 on Philly? Is Embiid 3 and Embiid?
Well, Giannis is 2, but if I was starting a team, I would take each one of those Philly guys before Giannis.
But even forget that part of it. Just right now, this moment, they might have the 3rd and 4th best players in the conference, in Embiid and Simmons. Like, I know John Wall's out there. I understand DeMar DeRozan's out there. Like, I know what Embiid is when he's healthy, and the mask will come off soon enough. And Simmons has been excellent this entire run.
Yeah, I mean, he's not better than DeMar DeRozan right now. I mean, like, we could talk about potential, but as far as the way DeRozan is playing, neither one of those guys are ranked higher than him.
They're such different types of players. I mean,
but if we're ranking all the players
Simmons,
right now,
I mean, I would take Simmons over DeRozan.
Moving forward, but we're talking about playing right now. The guy's playing excellent. Forget about the potential.
He's playing well. Game 2, he was, or was it 3 that he struggled a little bit, DeRozan?
I mean, I think Ben Simmons is playing great as well. And Embiid, forget potential. Embiid's going to either be Defensive Player of the Year or runner-up Defensive Player of the Year this year. But we don't have to parse it. The point is, we would all agree they have 2 of the, 6 best?
Easily.
2 of the 7 best players in the conference on one team. And the only team right now, with Kevin Love playing that way, that has 2 of the top 10 in the conference on one team are these 2 young guys.
Kevin Love had how many points last night? 5?
At 5.
5 points.
He made 0 shots outside of 1 foot.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.